independent. Sometimes in 1990s, the leadership of this nation, particularly including people like President Abdul Kalam, saw the vision of a developed nation. Now, after about 20-25 years, the entire setup is ready, the policies, the direction, the infrastructure, and it's showing results. And 2047, when we say that we have to be a developed nation, in this journey we already are number 5 economy, and very soon we should be number 3. I'm reminded of those beautiful lines which the ancient saint of South India, Maharishi Patanjali said, I quote, "When you're inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bounds. Your mind transcends limitations, your consciousness expands in every direction, and you find yourselves in a new, great and wonderful world. Dominant forces, faculties and talents come alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamt of yourself to be," I unquote. Today, we have someone amidst us who has not only steered this great country through the worst crisis of mankind, COVID-19, and has been a party to scripting this beautiful story or beautiful journey called Viksit Bharat, to interact with the learners. We are so fortunate to have you, ma'am, in our midst. Let me move away from in between you and our budding leaders. Once again, a very warm welcome to JAIN Team TV University, ma'am, and we look forward to learning from you how we as a nation are moving forward and what we as a university and young budding leaders have to contribute. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you for those warm words, sir. Now, I would like to invite someone who has nurtured lakhs of minds and inspired thousands of leaders. He believes that the most effective way to contribute to the development of the nation is to empower youth with knowledge, skills, wisdom, and intellect. I would request Dr. Chainraj Roychand, founder and chairman of JAIN Group of Institutions, to officially welcome ma'am with a gesture of appreciation. Everybody, the most awaited moment. Let's welcome the world's biggest economy's finfluencer, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, with your due permission, we'd like to start and begin with the Q&A sessions. Ma'am is looking forward to have a very engaging and an interactive session with all the learners. We asked ma'am to address. She was like she would like to take more questions, sir. So ma'am is very eager to take the questions, and so I would request all our learners, whoever wish to ask questions, kindly raise your hands and our volunteers will come to you with the mic. Please keep it interesting. We're looking forward for a very, very insightful Q&A. Over to you, ma'am. Yes, you can raise your hands and our volunteers will come to you. Yes, sir. Okay, so yes, Deepthi, we can take the first person.
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Abhay, and my question is, how is India planning to foster innovation and technological development so that it can position itself as a global leader in coming future?
I think various ways, there are various ways in which, please sit down. Yeah. The government has made it explicit about how we want to support innovations. And since the year 2016, you heard how the startup policy and the framework for innovation and also expediting patents, application being simplified for MSMEs and startups for innovation patents, charges being brought down, and appointing more inspectors so that innovation and the application for patents are treated speedily. So these are from the point of view of an innovator who seeks recognition, processes which simplify, costs which are eliminated or reduced, and support being given. But more importantly, products which are produced subsequently, and the MSME support mechanism is given priority even in government procurements. So when you go on the GEM portal, which is the government e-market for procurement for everything to do with the government or public sector undertaking, we give priority for procuring from small producers, and in that women are given special dispensation. So the last data that I saw was nearly 40% of all the government procurement comes from MSMEs today, the small producers today. Now this is important for us to recognize, because you may innovate, but if it's not commercially made subsequently, and if there is not a assured market for some time, at least till such a time you scale up, that becomes a problem for the innovator plus the person who wants to come to commercially make it viable. So it is not support innovation by bringing out a policy. It's not support innovation by giving some money. It's also connecting all the backward and forward linkages which are so important for supporting that mechanism of innovation and the products which come out of it. And giving them a big place in the economy is also a fact which the PM consciously promotes whenever he speaks about it. And we meet up with people globally who come to seek what are the kind of things which are happening in India and actively engage with them also. So the prospects of innovators can be seen in the way in which startups have flourished in this country. More than 2 lakh startups today, and more than at least 113, if I know the last number right, who have become unicorns. So the opportunity is immense. I still think we are not really fully utilizing it. It depends on the young of the country to do it.
Thank you, ma'am. Can we take the next question, please? Yes.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Ganapati. So my question is regarding banking, digital banking transformation. So we all know that the huge success UPI has had in India over the last few years in terms of accessibility and security and the volume of transactions which are happening. So technology is a very evolving field. So what are the future banking transformations in the digital banking system that we can anticipate, and how can this be increased taken forward in such a way that we can increase accessibility in rural areas as well, in order to make sure that everybody in the economy is part of the banking sector?
I don't want to sound too sure of myself by saying, aren't we doing that now? The fact that Jan Dhan Yojana was brought in was to make sure that banking is available all over the country. Everybody gets banking access. And because we started off much in advance, meaning nobody knew there will be a COVID, nobody knew that the digital revolution in India will be so, exponentially increasing. So when you brought it in, it was with an intent of giving everybody a financial inclusion. You be a part of the financial world which is available before you, so that you can benefit from it. And that which started in 2014 multiplied, and more people came into the banking network. Simultaneously, because we brought in this digital revolution and scaled it up, scaling up is not government alone. I want to underline that point. Once the digitization was available in not just smartphones but feature phones, not just in English or Hindi but also in regional languages, not just for people of certain particular category but for everybody, so the language is simple, anybody can use it. It was for the direct benefits which were coming from the government, or for even health related services. So people realized the value of information flow which they are getting, and as a result of which they also participated in many of the programs, which resulted in a huge exponential change in the way in which common people started using digital instruments which were being readied. And for the digital instruments which were being readied and which people were using, they were not going to pay anything. The common people were not going to pay a service charge or using this app charge or downloading that app charge, none of that. So India's approach for spreading digital network was completely driven by the country, by its public money. It was funded by the government. Very many other countries, even today, go through the route of a private player who's produced a platform through which you can access global markets, which means that private player will take some nominal charges at least from every user. Whereas what India did was to create this huge infrastructure, allowed it for banking purposes, allowed it for health purposes, allowed it for marketing purposes, allowed it for payment purposes, so on, allowed it for education purposes. So this public infrastructure which was created gave the benefit for very, very minor user, micro level user also, without having to pay for it. So a small business which wanted to grow, which wanted to access markets beyond their village, today are reaching not just their neighboring district or not just their state's capital. They are accessing global markets. I will never get tired of giving one example. I had gone to Nagaland, and as it is Northeast, within India you feel Northeast is an effort to go because you have to take, if you're going by train it goes around, or if you go by flight, nowadays at least every state has at least one airport and one flight reaching them. Earlier it used to be even more cumbersome. But when I went to Nagaland and I stayed there for 2 days, went around, they were small NGOs. And one of the NGO which was run by a lady said, please come and have a look at what I'm doing. She took me to her unit. They were all producing handmade handicraft products. They could be table linen, they could be upholstery material, or they could be cushion cover, or they could just be the Christmas tree decorations or tea coasters. They were all being produced by women there, and suddenly she says, I said, what is all this? Now suddenly you seem to have all Christmas themed, so much happening here. She said, yes, I've got an order from the US. So for Christmas we're sending it. And imagine Nagaland, in a small part of Nagaland, a small NGO accessing a market directly in Washington and clearly sending every item that is being produced well before Christmas so that it can be sold there. You wouldn't have imagined this kind of an access even if you were to be well networked, well linked, even if you were not cut off like Northeast. Nowadays Northeast is not cut off. But the digital revolution, which does not have any borders, it doesn't look at India, Bangladesh border, India, Sri Lanka border, India, any other border, or the huge oceans or the huge Himalayan mountain. You can access anybody directly. So if that is possible for a small NGO, a small micro level producer in Nagaland, you can imagine how, like a burst of blooming flowers, all over the country, small units have seen the benefit of this kind of an access. For further enabling it, government has come up with ONDC, the Open Network for Digital Commerce, in which anybody can come. Now players who are slightly big are also getting into ONDC. Government is not grudging that. So the digital inclusion, financial inclusion, people are not waiting for somebody to come and educate them, because it's already in simple language and reaching in their phone, they're able to access this. This will only grow and grow more. What we need to do, and your question was about what in future. What in future is technology will have to continuously be updated, because technology moves fast. Together with it, we'll also have to continuously keep updating the technology so that we don't become redundant.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Can we take the next question, please? Yes. Requesting the volunteers to pass on the mic.
Hello, it's Donna here. So how does government plan to balance fiscal discipline in the orientation, in the growth orientation of the India? So how does government is planning the fiscal discipline of India?
Don't mind me asking, tell me what do you think of fiscal discipline?
So the balance of the rate, the how much rate government have in with the another country. So now, like in the Google, what I could see that government is planning nearly 17% in coming year. So
Please sit down.
yeah.
See, the issues which are getting covered by that one question are not just trade deficit. I think she's talking somewhat about trade, but also when she uses the expression fiscal, it's also public money management. So whether you're collecting enough money, whether your tax money is being used efficiently, whether you're borrowing so much that you're not able to repay, whether your repayment money is more than what you would spend on your developmental expenditures in creating assets. So there are so many components which can go into that one question. But if you're looking at how India has to be managed for the money that it earns and the money that it spends, the philosophy has been that for every rupee that we collect as tax, we should be effectively creating assets as much as giving back good governance for the people. I should account for every rupee that I collect so that it doesn't get frittered away. I should account for every rupee that I collect so that common people benefit from the work that the government does. Whether you create good roads, whether you create good ports, whether you create your airport facilities, or whether you give good schools, good colleges, good hospitals. This is an ever-growing demand, particularly in India, because you have the youth population coming out of colleges. They need a lot of facility. You need skilling. That is why government came up with 5 different elements for dealing with youth and their aspirations. Skill them, employ them, give them opportunity for internship, give them also opportunities to see how top companies run. So these are all things which we are doing in order that you're able to manage the money that you earn in terms of revenue in such a way that you create assets through building assets such as roads and ports and other things, and equally give the soft power for our people. The youth be trained, youth be given opportunities, youth be skilled. Equally, the middle level people who have already got into job market should constantly upgrade their skills. Today, everything is getting driven by technology. So once you've gotten into a job, are you going to be ready for the promotion? Are you going to be ready for the changing business environment? Even that is required. So all this has to be done. So I would think that's one generic answer that I can give, but there are so many specifics in it.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, there's one question that I'd like to ask. We know that you've extensively worked towards women development and empowerment. While we are actually steadily moving towards a progressive society, we see that there are a lot of women who are very self-driven, who are ambitious. They have the talent, they're willing to put in the hard work, but somewhere they don't get that support back family. And even if they get and they step out into the world, they find it pretty patriarchal. Have you experienced something like this, ma'am? And if you can give one advice to all the young girls out there and the women to live their dreams, live their mark, and just be unapologetically themselves, what would it be, ma'am?
You can be all that. You know, actually, don't mind me saying, I'm not standing against the viewpoint that you have. This is not a very popular answer, but I will give it. What's patriarchy? If you're able to stand up and speak for yourself logically, which is that patriarchy which is going to say, oh, shut up, sit down? Impossible. Not certainly in a country like India. Impossible. But if patriarchy is a guise we want to give ourselves and say, my inefficiency, my not being ready, we want to cover it up by saying, oh, patriarchy is stopping me. No way. Who stopped Mrs. Indira Gandhi from becoming the Prime Minister of this country? Who stopped? I start with her. Who stopped her? And before that, Aruna Asaf Ali. Freedom fighters, Sarojini Naidu. Which patriarchy stopped any of these people? I want to honestly appeal to all the young minds. Don't get carried away by these fantastic, not you, sorry, by these fantastic jargons of, patriarchy is stopping us, otherwise we women would have gone to Mars yesterday. No. Women are sending such wonderful satellites and rockets and spaceships, and most of those women are like you and me. Sari pehna hua hai, baal lamba rakha hua hai, clumsy hai. But they're doing fantastic work in ISRO. Who stopped? Which patriarchy stopped these scientists? Yeah. So first, I'm not undermining. Yes, I'm also equally not saying that women are, facilitated adequately. More facilitation needs to be done. That is why when Prime Minister says women-centric policy, now women-led policy, we want to push more opportunities for women so that they come on board, they do what they want. But ultimately, let's also equally not forget the comfort that a family gives you, the security that a family gives you. Many countries, women are suffering for the lack of this. Many of them feel insecure because they don't have a family to fall back on. So yes, if somebody tells you patriarchy, you stand up and say, matriarchy, I'm asking now. I'm asking you a question, give me an answer. Let there be an equal argument over matriarchy and patriarchy. You will find women have played their roles, and only in India many of the leftist jargons hold currency because we don't stand up, we don't have the time. We say, oh, chalo yaar, you want to talk about patriarchy, go ahead, but I'm going ahead in my route. And we go on. Sometimes intellectual engagement is equally important because narratives will have to be countered. Narratives will have to be countered with substantial answers.
Thank you, ma'am. This is definitely going to inspire a lot of us, ma'am. Can we take the next question, please?
Hello, ma'am. Good morning. Kalyan here. So my question is, how banking sector supporting young entrepreneur and startups like fintech sectors, digital service sectors?
Oh, I can go on and on as to how they are supporting. There are a lot of schemes given by the government, but even otherwise today, if you're able to reach a bank and tell that you have an innovative idea and convince them, there is a lot of fund available because government parked some 5-6 years ago 10,000 crores in SIDBI as a special fund for supporting startups. That was called Fund of Funds. Because with that 10,000 crores, SIDBI could raise more money from the market, and therefore it wasn't just 10,000 crores, it was far more than that. And SIDBI wouldn't be sitting and saying, I've got the money, whoever wants to come to me, come. They gave it to the banks also and said, you lend it. This is my money I'm giving you. You lend it to the small businesses and innovative ideas who are being, needing of support. Other than that, we have come up with the special programs through which private equity funds are also coming, because we've given them some concessions, to go out there in the market and support, like venture capitalists and private equity funds are going in like angel investors. That very name is given because they come like a blessing to these small startups who are looking around for funds, and so these angel investors put the money. Now, how do I, as a startup, know about all this? All this is happening all right, but I have no idea. I'm sitting in Jayanagar. I have no picture what's going on. There are institutions recognized by Government of India as institutions which incubate these startups. You can approach them and say, look, my idea is this. This is how far I've reached. I want further assistance. I don't have the money for it. Will you do it? They will do the matchmaking. For yours, they will get the kind of angel investor who has that money to come and invest in such thoughts with which you are working. So institutions all over the country have been identified who can understand the technicalities of the innovation that you are coming up with and put you to such funders who can help you grow with that capital. It is at the seed stage. it is at a slightly advanced stage, and it is also at a higher stage where you can commercially transfer the thought. So this kind of an assistance is available through institutions. So that is the long and short of what I want to convey. There are very many smaller programs also through which these innovations are supported, startups are supported, small businesses are supported.
Thank you, ma'am. I completely understand that many of you want to have this conversation going, but due to paucity of time, we will just be able to take one last question. So, yeah.
Hello, ma'am. Very good morning. Well, ma'am, first of all, congratulations for providing 1 crore internship. That was a big one. Thank you very much. And I would really say that let's give a big round of applause for that. Ma'am, it definitely means a lot to us, especially when this comes from the top 500 companies. So I have twofold questions. It's a simple one, though. The first one is we also have age group that is 21 to 24 for whom the internship criteria matches. The JAIN Online has around 60,000 plus learners. At least 20,000 fall in this category. How can we collaborate? How can we be part of this mission?
Have you seen the advertisements in newspapers?
Absolutely, ma'am.
That tell you how to go about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fortunately for the corporates, they do have an option to enroll for the program. Unfortunately, for the education institutions...
no, I think you've really not got the framework with which this system works. And I will take all the extra time to talk to you about it.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I would want each one of you all to see if in your neighborhood, there is even one person, and I'm saying this consciously, it's not to undermine. I run that program. It comes under Ministry of Corporate Affairs and I'm the minister there. And I'm telling you, this program, please sit down. This program was tailored to give exposure to people who have never been in any job earlier. This program was tailored for people who are considered unemployable. I'm using an expression, please watch out. People who have no skills, people who have not really got that kind of a skill set, which an employer readily will look at and say, yes, I want to come, attend the interview, and you go in. This internship scheme is not an employment scheme. It is a scheme through which those who have never had a job opportunity, we wanted to give them the exposure. Understand what the employer requires. Understand what are the ways and various different things that an employer will be doing. He could be from A sector, B sector, C sector. And in that, once you go there, you're not there forever. You're there only for 12 months. The internship scheme is only for 12 months. You go in there, and the employer, in the first few days of interaction with you, understands where you will fit. He'll give you an exposure in that aspect of his business. It could be marketing, it could be something to do with computer, it could be human resource management, it could be anything. So, what this platform that we have created does is, of course, why do the corporates go in there? They are the ones to give you the offer. It has access for them because that's where you're going to go and put the intern. So he should come. Who else should come? Who else should come? Only they should come. Top 500 companies will come and say, in this district or in, I have an opportunity for 5 people to come and do the internship. So they get the opportunity to get on board to the platform, and he will or she will, that company will, put all the internship opportunities that are available. Then it was opened for the candidates. The candidates who are unemployable. I'm sorry to keep using that word, because if you're a 10th pass and you've not found a job, if you're a 12th pass, you've not found a job, you may be from a local ITI, you may be a diploma holder, but you still have not had an opportunity. So this program gives you the opportunity to get onto that platform. First, state who you are. Self-declaration. I'm not asking for any certificate from you. You declare that you are so and so. your age is 21 to 24, that's the requirement. And then say you belong to this district, your PIN code is this, your address is this. And because the companies which have given opportunities have just said which position, which district, what we will do is to do the matchmaking. Those youth who have come onto this platform will be by the district in which he's put his address. We'll say to the company, in the district in which you are willing to give an opportunity, these many youth are there. For that district, because we also have told ourselves we don't want these youth to move from the district to which he belongs. At best, if there are not much of opportunity there for internship, he can go to the neighboring district. Even worse, neighboring district also doesn't have. Within the state, nobody will be sent outside of the state. So, the pilot project is running now. 1 crore we'll achieve in 5 years, because the cabinet will again approve and give me the authority to carry on with that 1 crore. The budget and parliament approved it. The specifics will go to the cap. So now the 1,25,000 internship opportunities which companies have announced is where I want youth to come on board and self-declare, I belong to this district, my name is this, my address is this, I am in the age group of 21 to 24, I am a 10th pass, 12th pass, ITI, diploma, whatever you say that, or a BA, say that. Then we'll do the matchmaking, and letters from the company will go to you saying, you're welcome to come and join my company for the internship. 5,000 rupees is being paid to you. 4,500 rupees is being given by Government of India. 500 is being given by the company. So 5,000 rupees per month for 12 months. It's not a job. It gives you the exposure. After that, you can apply for any number of companies. So that is what is internship. And on the first day which you go and join in the company after this process is completed, 6,000 rupees one-time payment is also given to this youth so that he can get himself ready and go join and be there. So on being the first day, you get 6,000 rupees, and after that every month you get 5,000 rupees for 12 months. That's the internship program.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So I also appeal to all of you all, go back home. You had the access to good education, good skilling. Whereas there are unfortunately some youth who still don't have that opportunity. Help them to get onto this platform. Let them get the exposure. The government is paying.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure this is going to help millions of youth out there, ma'am. We totally understand, a lot of people are raising their hands there, but due to paucity of time, we will have to conclude this year. I'd like to request our chairman, Dr. Chenraj Roychan, to hand over address.
Thank you, ma'am. This is a second honor for us. She visited in 2023, and today with her eloquence, humility and simplicity, the way she presented to all of you to make you understand the entire government intent and what is the future of Viksit Bharat, from innovation to digitization to patriarchy or talking about internship. She had all the answers. In fact, even 36 hours will be less. She has so much of content to give it to all of you. But she summarized it in such a short way in 5 questions. She has made you all understand that your responsibility and how you can take Viksit Bharat forward. And she believes that you are all capable of doing that. And that's why she believes in intellectual understanding with the audience. And good questions by the audience in short. Really appreciate all the youngsters. I think they did their homework. They knew what they were asking. But the very important is that she came down to your level, and in fiscal deficit, she can give you various of verticals. But in one question, she gave 360 degrees variable answers. I have been always a follower of ma'am. I still remember in the second budget when she said that online gross enrollment ratios, 100 top universities will be given access to license to online education, and she lived up to that expectation. And today, madam, because of that your announcement, government Ministry of Education took it seriously. And what is the best thing I like about the budget, that whatever ma'am announces, it happens. Internship has already started, madam, except we got almost 650 offers between 5,000 to 10,000 to 15,000 rupees, the way they get the exposure. JAIN had that opportunity, and we created that ecosystem for the students for solopreneurship. And ma'am, I always felt that 3% are the entrepreneurs on the planet, and 22% are intellectual force, and 75% is the vocational force. So with this model, solopreneurship as the ancillary, the technology and the giants are increasing. If this ancillary support education we give to the student, the income will get divided by everybody. So it doesn't get centralized at one portion. JAIN has believed in this philosophy. And thank you very much, madam. It's a heartfelt thanks to you. And we request you to at least once a year, please come and bless us, madam. And you lived up to that promise second time, and you came. And third time, I request you to please keep up one blessing of yours in a year. It's not this 170, 250 people. Everybody is listening, whatever you are speaking. Our entire 25,000 students are listening, and they are going to be inspired by all of you. And this is, all your questions has been recorded, madam. We are going to make a script of it and send it to everybody, because this is a kind of a template she has given to all of you, that in 25 years what you all can do. So my dear friends, don't get into that doubt theory. Have self-belief in yourself and self-esteem. If ma'am can do it from nothing to something, you already have something, so you should make things happen and make India proud, and you all can do it. And thank you very much, madam, for once again. Namaste.
We totally agree with sir. So now I would request sir to kindly present the memento to ma'am as a token of appreciation, requesting everyone else to please be seated. Clap, clap, ask everyone to clap.
So this online what you opened up, madam, it is going to, and we already have 60,000. And I am a part of PMO talking to Guyana on digital school for 2 lakh
Group picture.
national anthem.
Requesting everyone to please stand up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय